Story number 1.
The Man Who Watched Me. Sleep. It started with the feeling of being watched. Every night, as I lay in bed, a creeping sensation crawled up my spine like unseen eyes lingering in the darkness. At first, I blamed my imagination, an overactive mind playing tricks in the quiet hours of the night, but the feeling didn't go away. It got worse. One night, I woke up abruptly, my heart pounding for no reason. The room was still, the only sound the faint hum of my bedside fan, but something felt wrong. Then I noticed it. The closet door was open. I never slept with my closet open. I sat up, straining my eyes in the darkness, but I couldn't see anything unusual. Still, the unease in my stomach twisted tighter. Slowly, I got up, crossed the room, and shut the door. As I turned to go back to bed, my breath caught in my throat. There were footprints on the carpet. They led from the closet to my bed. I barely slept after that. Every night, I locked the closet door. I shoved a chair in front of it, stuffed the gaps with towels. But no matter what I did, by morning, the door would be open again. And the footprints, they always returned. Then came the whispers, soft at first, just barely audible over the sound of the fan, a hushed voice, speaking words I couldn't quite make out. One night, I gathered the courage to record myself sleeping. I set up my phone on my nightstand, hit record, and forced myself to sleep. The next morning, I hesitated before pressing play. At first, it was just normal sounds, me turning in bed, the distant hum of passing cars. Then, at 3:13 a.m., a voice. "You're awake?" The voice was right next to the microphone, right beside my bed. I left that day, packed a bag, and moved in with a friend. I never went back for my things. The apartment is still there, but no one stays long, and sometimes, in the middle of the night, I wake up in my new home with that same feeling like someone is watching me.
Story number 2.
The Wrong Mother. When Lily was 6 years old, she woke up one night to find her mother sitting on the edge of her bed, watching her. This wasn't unusual. Her mother often checked on her at night, but something felt off. Her mother's face was calm, too calm. She didn't say anything, didn't move, just sat there in the dim glow of the nightlight, her wide eyes fixed on Lily's face. Lily rubbed her eyes sleepily. "Mom?" Her mother's smile widened, but she didn't blink. Then, in a voice that sounded almost, but not quite right, she whispered, "Go back to sleep, sweetheart." Lily did. She didn't know why. She just felt like she had to. In the morning, she told her mother about it. Her mother frowned. "Sweetie, I wasn't in your room last night." Lily felt a shiver run down her spine. "But I saw you. You were sitting on my bed." Her mother shook her head. "You must have been dreaming." Lily wanted to believe her, but she couldn't forget the way the woman had looked at her or how she never blinked. A week later, it happened again. Lily woke up in the middle of the night, and there, standing in the doorway, was her mother. Only something was wrong. Her mother was too tall. Her fingers gripped the doorframe too tightly, her nails digging into the wood. Lily wanted to scream, but the figure stepped forward, tilting its head. In the dark, its smile stretched unnaturally wide. "Go back to sleep, sweetheart." Lily didn't move. The figure took another step closer. "You don't want to wake Mommy." Lily shut her eyes and curled into a ball under the covers. She squeezed them shut so tight that she saw colors behind her eyelids. After what felt like forever, the room fell silent again. When she finally peeked out, the doorway was empty. The next morning, she found deep scratches in the wooden frame of her door. She never told her mother, because she knew whatever had been watching her that night wasn't her mother.
Story number 3.
The smiling man. Danny's walk home from work was always the same. Past the empty gas station, through the quiet neighborhood, then down the dimly lit alley behind his apartment. It was routine, familiar, until the night he saw the smiling man. It was late, close to midnight. The streets were unusually quiet, the kind of stillness that made the city feel abandoned. As Danny turned onto his usual alley shortcut, he noticed someone standing at the far end, a tall man dressed in an old-fashioned suit. His posture was stiff, unnatural, but it wasn't his presence that sent a chill down Danny's spine. It was his face, his too wide smile. A grin stretched ear to ear, frozen, unblinking. The man didn't move. He just stood there, smiling. Danny hesitated, then shook his head. It was just some weirdo, probably drunk or on something. He stepped forward, keeping his eyes ahead. But with each step, the unease in his stomach grew. Then, as he got closer, the man moved. Not a step, not a turn. He lurched. His body jerked forward in a way that wasn't natural, like a marionette being yanked by invisible strings. Danny stopped. His breath hitched. The man was closer now, but he hadn't taken a single normal step. And the smile never wavered. A deep, instinctual fear clawed at Danny's chest. He turned on his heel and walked back the way he came, faster now, almost jogging. Footsteps followed. He didn't hear them. He felt them. The smiling man was behind him. Danny forced himself not to look. Don't acknowledge him. Don't run. He was almost to the street, almost safe. Then, from just behind his ear, a voice whispered, "Why aren't you smiling?" Danny broke into a sprint. He didn't stop until he was inside his apartment, every lock bolted shut. His heart pounded as he pressed his back against the door, struggling to breathe. Silence. After a few minutes, he peeked out the window. The alley was empty. The smiling man was gone. Danny never took that shortcut again. But sometimes, late at night, when he passes a dark alley or an empty street, he swears he can feel someone watching. And if he ever dares to look, just for a second, there, standing perfectly still, is a tall man in an old suit, smiling.